Have you ever wondered how the story of the Philippines began? Our journey takes us back, way back, to a time around 30,000 years before the Common Era. That's when the first settlers set foot on what we now know as the Philippines. These early inhabitants, known as the Itas, were a nomadic people of Australo-Melanesian descent. They were hunters and gatherers, living off the land and the sea, moving from place to place with the changing seasons. The Itas were the Philippines' original trailblazers, the first to carve out a life in this tropical paradise. But as time went on, the face of the Philippines began to change. From the south sailed the Indones, people who had mastered the art of farming. They introduced sustainable agriculture to the islands, a development that led to the first permanent settlements. Then came the Malays, seafarers from the Malay archipelago. They brought with them a sophisticated understanding of metallurgy and pottery, skills that allowed them to craft tools, weapons, and intricate pieces of artwork. The Malays' arrival marked a significant leap forward in the cultural and technological evolution of the islands. But how do we know all this? What tangible proof do we have of these early civilizations? Well, the answer lies in the artifacts and cave paintings discovered throughout the islands. These relics from the past are like windows in time, giving us a glimpse into the lives of our ancestors. From the Manunggul jar, a 2,000-year-old burial jar depicting a voyage to the afterlife, to the ancient cave paintings of Penablanca, these artifacts tell a story of a people rich in culture and tradition. Thus, the first chapter in the story of the Philippines was written by its earliest settlers. Their legacy, etched in stone and pottery, painted on cave walls and passed down through generations, serves as a testament to their resilience and ingenuity. It's a story that continues to unfold, one that we are all a part of. And as we delve deeper into the tale, we'll uncover more about this nation's mysterious beginnings and the journey that led it to where it is today. What happens when different cultures collide and coalesce? In the 10th century, the Philippines was not yet a nation, but a collection of chiefdoms and small kingdoms. Trade links with other nations brought about cultural exchange, the effects of which are still evident today. The Chinese, for instance, brought in goods, ideas, and practices that would become deeply ingrained in the Filipino way of life. Silk, porcelain, and ironware were exchanged for local goods such as gold, pearls, and beeswax. But it wasn't just material goods that were traded. The Chinese also introduced agricultural techniques and crafts like weaving and pottery. They even influenced the local cuisine, introducing noodles, which would later evolve into a beloved Filipino dish known as pancit. In the same vein, trade with Arab and Indian merchants brought about significant cultural influences. The Arabs, in particular, brought with them a new religion, Islam. This was during the 14th century, and the effects were transformative. Islam was not just a religion but a complete way of life, providing guidelines on everything from politics to personal hygiene. The arrival of Islam resulted in the formation of sultanates in the southern regions of the Philippines. These sultanates, such as Sulu and Maguindanao, were Islamic states governed by a sultan. They had their own laws and customs, heavily influenced by Islamic principles. Trade, therefore, was not just about the exchange of goods, it was a vehicle for cultural diffusion, a way to exchange ideas, practices, and beliefs. With every ship that docked at its shores, the Philippines absorbed a little bit more of the world, and the world, in turn, absorbed a bit of the Philippines. The influence of these trade relationships is still evident today. From the barong Tagalog, a traditional Filipino shirt made of pineapple silk, a technique introduced by the Chinese, to the vibrant Muslim communities in the south, remnants of these trading days are woven into the fabric of Filipino society. Trade and religion thus played significant roles in shaping the Philippines. Can you imagine the impact of 300 years of foreign rule on a nation? The year is 1521. A man named Ferdinand Magellan steps foot on Philippine soil, marking the beginning of an era that would forever alter the course of the country's history. This period, known as the Spanish colonization, would last nearly 4 centuries, until the Philippine Revolution in 1896. The Spanish brought with them a new religion, Catholicism, which quickly spread throughout the archipelago. This was not a mere cultural exchange, but rather a deep and profound shift in the spiritual landscape of the Philippines. The church became a cornerstone of society, influencing everything from education to governance. Speaking of education, the Spanish introduced formal schooling, with a focus on religion, arts, and humanities. This was a significant step towards literacy and intellectual development for the Filipino people, although access to education remained a privilege of the few, the elites. The Spanish rule also brought about a new form of governance. The Philippines was divided into provinces, each headed by a Spanish-appointed governor. This system, while it brought some semblance of order, was not without its flaws. The local leaders often abused their power, leading to widespread discontent and unrest. And so, as the years rolled on, the Filipino people began to resist. Revolts sprouted across the country, from the mountains of the north to the islands of the south. These uprisings were not mere skirmishes, but full-blown wars, with the aim of reclaiming the nation from foreign rule. These revolts, however, were not just about liberation. They were a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people. A spirit that refused to be quelled, despite centuries of foreign rule. What does it take for a nation to regain its freedom and identity? Imagine a country vibrant and rich caught in the throes of struggle, clamoring for liberation. This is the story of the Philippines in the late 19th century, yearning for emancipation from 3 centuries of Spanish rule. The Philippine Revolution, led by the brave Katipunan, sparked the fires of nationalism, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people. Yet freedom was elusive. The dawn of the 20th century brought with it new challenges. The United States, under the guise of friendship, established its sovereignty over the archipelago. This was a time of cultural assimilation and economic transformation, but also a time of resistance and resilience. Then came the dark days of the Second World War. The Philippines was thrust into the theater of war, occupied by Japanese forces. The nation endured, its people fought back valiantly. And when the war ended, so did foreign rule. On the 4th of July, 1946, the Philippines finally claimed its independence, a nation reborn. But the journey to true freedom was far from over. The post-independence era brought its own trials and triumphs. The dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos, a period marked by martial law and human rights abuses, cast a long shadow over the nation. Yet, once again, the indomitable spirit of the Filipino people shone through. The People Power Revolution of 1986, a peaceful, bloodless revolt, ended Marcos's regime and ushered in a new era of democracy. Indeed, the history of the Philippines is a tale of resilience. It's a story of a people, united in their yearning for freedom, overcoming trials and tribulations, and emerging stronger. It's a story of a nation reborn, time and again, through the sheer force of its people's will, their courage, and their unwavering belief in the promise of a better future. The journey of the Philippines is a testament to the resilience and spirit of its people. And what about the Philippines today? A nation pulsing with life, the Philippines proudly stands as a democratic beacon in Southeast Asia. Modern history has seen it flourish, its culture vibrant, its economy robust. Yet like any nation, it grapples with challenges, from economic disparities to environmental concerns. But the Filipinos, resilient and hopeful, continue to aspire for a brighter future. The story of the Philippines continues to unfold, each day adding a new page to its rich and fascinating history.